Jeff Logan, you were the man who followed the man, and you did not wilt in that spotlight. Where do you think your desire, your grit, your motivation came from?
My goodness, as a young man, I was very fortunate to grow up in a terrific, supportive family, very athletic, goal-oriented, and I was always inbred with the idea to go out and be the best person, best whatever you're doing that you can be. And when I got to Ohio State, I got to admit, I walked in that room as a freshman with a big ego, big expectations, and within 12 seconds I was reduced to nothing because the talent was just off the charts. But what I found out was that I had a mentor, I had a light giver in Archie Griffin, and he continued to embrace that somebody was going to have this responsibility of taking over after he won 2 Heisman trophies. And so when it became my time, I didn't waste it.
No, you didn't. The first time you carried a rock into the end zone, what was going on in your head?
A dream come true. Just to be able to be there, be able to be part of a terrific team. One story, Clay, that I've got to share is that my grandparents who lived in Mansfield were great supporters of Ohio State. My dad played for the Buckeyes, played for Woody Hayes' very first team, and they were in the stands. And in that one game that I got into, Archie was coming off the field, and there was this standing ovation. And my grandmother said after the game, she said, "Jeff, that was terrific that you got that standing ovation." I didn't have the heart to tell her it was for Archie for what he had done for the day, and not necessarily me going in the game.
Well, you had a good coming out party, I think. Did you not?
I did.
Go ahead, brag a little bit.
Well, the very first opportunity in 1976 as a junior, there was talk that there would not be life after Archie Griffin. And I decided, and our team decided, we were going to go build our own legacy going forward. And I got loose for 3 touchdowns and a punt return for a touchdown in the first game, and kind of sat back and said, I think we can do this. I think this will work okay. So it was great.
Most great running backs credit the big fellas up front. Who opened the most holes for you?
I was fortunate, much like Archie had guys like John Hicks, I had Chris Ward.
Yeah.
And Chris Ward, along with all the other offensive linemen that were there, were unbelievable. And Chris Ward is being inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame. He'll be recognized on the field on Saturday. And when you have the big uglies up there doing what they do, it creates great opportunities.
When I got to Columbus and was doing my homework, and though I went to high school here, I'd been gone a while, I come across Jeff Logan, who had the best hair that I think I've ever seen. Isn't it ironic that this man is now owning the new look? You couldn't make a wig out of that?
The pictures are great. This is just cut back a little bit. It's just
a little trim. And you led a charmed life. You married a cheerleader, correct?
Yeah, it's funny. My lovely wife Dina, we're middle school, junior high sweethearts, and she still thinks Woody Hayes recruited her to come to Ohio State to be a cheerleader, and I was just, eye candy along the way. But I'm not up here without our support. The rest of the family and everything else has just been terrific.
That's awesome. Jeff, congratulations.
Thank you, Clay.
You just didn't want to get to see tonight, and that's why I get to have the fun. Marisa, tremendous volleyball player. Is this correct? And I think Jerry read this. Second in assists with 86 versus Tennessee.
Yes.
In one game.
Yes.
How do you pull that off?
Well, it was a 5-set match. I think that was Sweet 16 my sophomore year, and I think we went into extra points. And I was fortunate enough to set Stacy Gordon that year, who was National Player of the Year, so she made my job pretty easy.
That's incredible. 3-time All-American. How proud of that honor are you?
Very proud. I mean, you know, hard, it's obviously an honor and a value to have that kind of individual award, but I think, you know, what meant the most to me was what our team was able to accomplish on the court. And, you know, we made several Elite 8, Sweet 16, and just what we were able to do together was really special.
You've left a mark, like everybody who has been an athlete here. Was there a time in that court or in a classroom when you said, I'm bonded to this place. I will never forget it. It is part of my life. It means so much to me. What moment do you remember, if I, try to get that moment out of you there?
Sure. I think honestly, I started my college career at Xavier, and it wasn't the right fit. And so I was looking for a new home, and I was up here, and I watched it practice in St. John Arena, and I said that, this is where I want to be. This is my home. This is it. This is the perfect fit for me. And it absolutely was. And so to get to spend 3 years here and be on this campus was just an incredible opportunity.
Did you meet a special person in your life here?
Yes, my husband played for the men's volleyball team.
Okay.
So we met. It took him 3 years to ask me out, but it all worked out.
He's here?
Yes.
Maybe we should ask him about that. Yes, and that is Brett, correct?
Yes, Brett Russo.
Well, yeah, I can see why this is a special place. So you beat him to the Hall of Fame?
Yes, I did.
So
we have compared individual stats, that's for sure.
you have?
Yes, he got to play in the Final Four twice, but I'm the 3-time All-American. I think he has 1.
That's good stuff. Marisa, thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
We're going to go for baseball tonight. Mannino. I'm juggling the questions here. 4 straight trips to the NCAAs for the regionals. And having been around the SEC before I came up here in Mississippi State and some of these teams, how difficult is it for a northern school to accomplish what you guys did?
You look at it on a national perspective, and it's about the guys that we're surrounded with. We expected that. It didn't matter if we were from the north, but we went down there with an attitude. And these guys, that I played with were, we went out to win every day. So we weren't from the north. We were just the baseball team that played together, and we had grit. We had, blue collar guys that went out there and played hard. And it didn't matter who we were playing against. We knew we could beat them.
You were a captain. How did you try to lead?
The things you learn when I came in as a freshman, and I had guys step in with their wing, and they developed me and taught me the way we should play baseball at Ohio State. And I was lucky enough to have those guys around me. And when I got to be a senior, I felt like I put a couple guys along underneath me too. And it's about that brotherhood, that camaraderie, that teamwork, and in baseball, obviously you got to win, collectively as a team. And it didn't matter if you're a freshman or a sophomore or a junior. If the senior guy was pushing that freshman to be as good as he could be, and if it meant his job, but collectively as a team, it was a special group of guys. What
did Coach Bob Todd mean to your teams?
Coach was, we always say that, you don't have to love him, but you got to respect him. He was different, but he was innovator. He was a legend in college baseball. He did a lot of great things for Northern baseball. He did a lot of great things for our teams and give us national recognition. But he had that discipline. He had that work ethic he drove into you. You had to respect what you did every day and how you went about business. And that's the way we represented each other. And not for nothing that Bob was great as a coach, as a mentor. I got to coach underneath him after done playing for a while, but it's about the assistants too. I got 2 of them over there, back and sight. That's what made us. You could have that guy at the top, but you needed those guys in the middle that knew about each guy a little bit more and got the best out of you. Hats off to those guys for that.
That's awesome. As we were talking backstage, you were talking about some of the teams you were up against in the regionals. Was it Georgia Tech?
In 1 year, Georgia Tech, yes, we went down there to their region, and we beat them twice. But you had guys, Jason Veritek, Mark Arthur, Jay Payton, all legendary guys, and we went out and beat them twice, knocked them out there in the region. So that's what we expected to do.
That's awesome.
That's the kind of attitude we played with, and a tribute to my guys. They're here tonight, and we all have each other's backs all the time, and to this day we're still together.
Well, Ohio State had Brian Mannino.
I don't know that. We all have good guys.
Did Bob Todd, I don't know, my baseball career ended in high school, but did Bob Todd I've always been fascinated with the pregame speech. And I said, one of these days when I make a documentary, I'm going to, just those few moments. He seems professorial, but he brought the fire as well.
He did. He set the precedence before he even did that. And
okay.
He's one of those coaches that, he gave you that look. So our guys know what that look was. And
give me that.
I didn't know that. No, but he was a guy that, he didn't have to say much. He just had that look on his face. And, but the expectations were set way before a game. And the guys around us all knew, okay, it was kind of our team. Yeah. And, he was the leader of our team, but we were still in charge of what we did on the field.
Those are the best teams, right? The player-driven teams?
Yep.
Incredible. I hope I got some good nuggets for you tonight. So, Jeff, Marisa, and Brian, that is awesome. Congratulations. We begin with one of the most entertaining players that I've had the privilege to cover. I've probably interviewed this man 50 times, maybe more, I don't know. But you get to the second or the third question, and Braxton usually says, I don't want to talk about myself. Well, buddy, suck it up. You're going to talk about yourself. Here we go. 7 major Big Ten awards. How cool was that?
First of all, I just want to say, whoa, it's loud, but shout out to my family and friends. Table 2, family back there, table 29, and everybody came tonight, everybody looking good. Proud of you guys, man, thanks for the support. And OH, let's get it started. Let's start.
Talking about everybody except
everybody, like I said.
No, that's good. 88 touchdowns, second all-time at OSU. What I mean, some of those runs in the big house, you left them just gasping for air. How did you do those things?
Well, growing up in Springfield, Ohio, just playing street football, backyard football, just hanging out with my friends, and it's crazy, playing Xbox and PlayStation back then. That's what really motivated me to do some of this move. I ain't gonna lie.
Is that right?
It's crazy, but
that was your gym.
Yeah, 100%.
That was your weight room.
No question.
What I think is really remarkable is you renamed yourself. You were the bionic man. Turned yourself into an NFL receiver after playing quarterback for 68 years, right? I mean, that was your gig.
Yeah, like I said, I was playing backyard and playing all positions, being an athlete growing up, and playing all different type of positions and different leagues and stuff like that. Helped a lot.
Why did you want to keep going if you couldn't play your native position?
I don't believe the word stop. I just keep going. And plus, I had my son when I was 18, so that motivated me more than anything. Been able to come from a small town, to accomplish a lot, and been able to make the dream happen and all keep going and pushing forward and be the best I can possibly be.
How many gold pants do you have?
I don't know. That's my brother even say.
They're all spread out somewhere.
Oh, we got over there. 4, 5. There you go.
National champion 2014.
Yeah.
Your son is now how old? The oldest?
12. He's 12.
12. Okay. Do you see something in him?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely phenomenal. He does work pretty hard. He's a heck of a student athlete. He takes it serious, and he's trying to his own self, you know. And I'm proud of everything that going on. And outside of football, he's a great basketball player as well. I think he's going to take off. Shout out to you, boy.
You do a number of things still in the athletic world. You have basketball teams, you have flag football teams, you have on and on and on it goes. You're invested in youth. What spurs you to do that?
This is, you know, coming from a small town, we really didn't have that, you know, and I was always going to be that person when I got to the position where I'm at, you know, the platform that I have, and be able to push it back forward to the youth. Being able to do that is tremendous. You know, I lived in my elementary school in my hometown. Being able to do that as well, and it feels good. You know, learning from the guys that I got Coach Meyer, Coach Dress, Fickle, Coach Meyer, I learned a lot. So the knowledge I have, I give back.
Yeah, we did a story with you 2, 3, 4 years ago that you had invested, partnering with STEM classes, right? Math, get all that engineering and
Well, my aunt, she's probably by far the first smartest person I know in this space. She's a tremendous help. She actually pulled a drive from Philly to come out here to work with me and my foundation to give back to the youth. And she did a wonderful job. Shout out to Mannino. Thank you for everything you do. Yeah, she wanted to do that stuff, so I'll just have the circle around me to push you to be better and kind of platform. That's what we do.
I can't imagine there's anybody in this room who hasn't seen this before. See, you know what? Could you just do it?
They got the live action, you know. Live action, prime time, that's what I'm all about. Right now, it's just, you know.
How often do you get asked about that, even now?
All the time, I went to the gas station earlier today, someone said, it doesn't go.
Can you patent that or put a...
That's a good question.
That stuff now, you probably...
Well, my mom was back there, so maybe then we should talk about patenting that people instead of letters. That'd be something to do.
What does this place mean to you in your years here?
It means a lot. You know, I've grown a lot, I've learned a lot, I've been able to be an entrepreneur that I am today. Shout out to my guy Jim for always having my back and everything we got going on. And it means a lot, man. You know, just being able to watch the guys that I grew up, you know, watching Saturday nights and being able to be here with a red jacket on. By the way, this is nice. Super appreciated. I'm glad to be here. And it means a lot.
So it'll be fun to take one more bow tomorrow.
That's right. Yeah, I guess. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah. They want to cheer you, okay?
That's fine. That's good.
Braxton, it's been a pleasure to know you. Yeah. Kathy, I have many questions for you, but how do you embrace distance running? I had a high school friend who ran cross country, and he was always trying to drag me over to Scioto or somewhere. We're going to run 5 there. And after 2.5, I went home. I just, you know, and I thought I was some kind of basketball player and this and that. And anyway, how do you do that?
First of all, I want to thank you for the question. I'll get to it. I just want to thank Varsio for nominating me. This is a huge honor. And also to my very dear friends that traveled here from Wisconsin and Colorado to be with me today. Wow. And the other friends at my table. It's been a great opportunity for me to meet some of my friends. And then also to my parents who are no longer with us, but they really support behind everything I've done. And my 2 sisters who aren't here with me. So, thank you.
How do you develop an affection for, you know,
Long distance running?
chasing?
Yeah.
Putting your body through.
Yeah. You get into a flow, you know. you get into
You
it.
do.
Absolutely.
You get this
You ever hear about Monar's High? I mean, let's
Yes.
it's cool.
I
I
never had
might
that.
have when I was a young child, going back to presidential awards, running and beating boys at the 600-yard dash, and then my older sister kind of promoting me to our coaches, and we had an excellent high school team. Nina High School went to state 4 times, champs 3 years, and 4th runner-up, and then just also excellent coaching. So the late, great Mamie Rollins was our head coach.
Really?
Coach Michael Coughlin really, made it happen for me, so.
Are the memories still vivid? 5,000 meters, 1987?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, and
Can you take us through that? Like, it's been moving.
I can't run a 5,000 meter on the track at that time anymore, no. But he can really do this thing. Yeah, that was really awesome. Back then, Ohio State University truly did not have a great distance program. I mean, we were new on the scene, and Marie Oden was elected last year, kind of paved the way for me. And then I came out of high school, Declan and Ralph, did not expect to do what I did in my first 2 years. I mean, I ran for my first 2 years. I took a year off because of the intensity and the outdoor cross country and fall, indoor and winter, outdoor and spring, and then training all summer. It was a full-time job. I came back my 4th year, which just wasn't the same, but it was a great experience. No one changed it.
You had the runner's high that day.
I read the notes.
You are the total product, athletic, academic. What did that mean to you to excel in the classroom as well?
I always put a high priority on academics. That's probably one of the reasons I stepped back my 3rd year. And hey, going to Ohio State University and competing, and then also being able to get that diploma, that's a big deal. And it's helped me throughout my entire career to where I am today.
Any advice for a young athlete? How do you jump that?
I say definitely have fun, number 1. Number 2, make sure that you're eating well, good nutrition, and trust your coaches. I mean, I totally trusted my coaches, and it really paid off for me.
Congratulations on the honor.
And I just want to say this is quite the stage to be on, so.
I bet you can outrun. There are images in my head of you just breaking backwards, and I thought, what did you weigh in college? 275, 250?
250, 260.
Yeah. That's a lot of torque in, on that rim.
That's why my knees are bad now.
You think you'd beat Florida if you played them again?
Kyle, Matt Timmons here. Played on the team. I would love to say yes, but they literally have 7 NBA players on that team.
That's true.
It was tough, but it was such a fun experience going up against those guys. And I said I had 25 and 12, and people been telling me to say I did that with my offhand. So
that's right.
But that's right. It was pretty tough to do.
I almost forgot about that. You were National Defensive Player of the Year. It takes a little extra, I don't know what the word is, juice to want to defend. I mean, everybody wants to score, but you wanted to swat shots.
Well, I wasn't good at basketball. All I could do was dunk and block shots. So I figured, why not do that to the best of my abilities? And it took me pretty far.
That's a real epiphany there. I wasn't expecting that one. Well, there was a couple of teams that thought you were pretty good. When you heard your name called #1 NBA draft, what was your heart doing right there?
Literally, when my name was called, the only thing I was thinking was, don't trip walking up them stairs. And I was the first one up there, and I was the last
last one to leave, but it was a great time. All of my family came to New York, and it was an amazing time. And I was just so honored to be put in that spot. It changed my life. So I'm so thankful to everything that happened to get me there.
You dealt with so many injuries. Did it make you bitter?
No, actually, it made me lazy. I literally had knee injuries. I couldn't walk. But no, it was part of my experience. It was what made me who I am to get me to this spot right here. The ups and downs, my family being there for me. It's the things that made me the person that I am today.
What size coat is that, by the way?
It's big and not long enough at the same time. It's weird. It's kind of big right here with the arms. I'm like trying to hide it.
You've been coaching with Thad at Butler, but you said recently you walked away to go back to the financial world?
Yeah, so for the past 5 years, I've been teaching professional athletes and entertainers about financial literacy. As you know, the ups and downs, not having the right people in your corner. I just wanted other athletes to learn some of my experiences that I've learned off the court and just help these guys just pay attention to their own money. See who has access to it, see where it's going, where it's coming from, and you'll be surprised when those checks are coming in, how many athletes never look at it, just give it to the guy who's going to handle it. So I just want to empower us athletes to pay attention to the finances because it is your money.
You said your daughter, Logan, who's 8 years old, is a big 8-year-old. Will you persuade her to play ball? Do you think she'll migrate to that? How do you feel about that?
Well, she's a big personality, and right now she's saying, I would never play basketball. She is a cheerleader, she is a girly girl. That is my girl. And whatever she wants to do, I'm going to be there for it. But I do put on the WNBA games just to make sure she sees it in the house.
There you go. This is a great trio. Braxton, Kathy, great. Thank you. Alrighty, we're going to start with a lacrosse goalie because we're a lacrosse family. My son played the position, and to know this guy beat out, was it a senior, junior, to take the cage?
I think so, yeah.
Because
I think he might have read it.
Nick Myers, yeah, he was like, he's always about, is it Judge Cage? All right. I don't know if you played lacrosse, seen lacrosse, felt one of those balls that's harder than a baseball. You're the best ever at that position in 75 years at the Ohio State University. And by the way, when a lacrosse goalie comes home, there are spots and bruises and contusions. Why in the world would you do it?
Well, I grew up in a small town in Enshrined, Maryland, and my dad was an All-American goalie and a national champion.
Yeah.
Dad is here right now, Paul Russo. I broke my arm in, I think it was 6th grade, and I couldn't really play, so they stuck me in goal. And my dad had me at a pretty young age, so I still got to see him play, and I just watched him, and I was able to kind of mimic what he did. So I just hopped in goal at that time when I had that broken arm, and I couldn't get out after that. He's pretty good. Let's keep him in there.
Let's keep him in there. The progress, the growth of the game from the East Coast this way, and you found Ohio State before you found Maryland or whoever else, and you built something here.
Yes, building something here was a huge deal. I really wanted that, and I wanted a school where it was, like you said, those top programs on the East Coast were small schools typically, and I just wanted a big university with culture. And I have a pretty funny story. I was at a wrestling camp in Aberdeen, Maryland. I think you know where that is too. And they brought out this old VHS wrestling highlight video, Ohio State wrestling.
Okay.
It was like old, like 80s montages or something like you see in Rambo. These guys were doing lifting weights, hitting guys and stuff like that. And so I was 7 years old when I watched this. And I remember going to my dad and I was like, Dad, I'm going to go to Ohio State and I'm going to wrestle and I'm going to play lacrosse. This was when I was 7. And at the time, East Coast, Ohio State wasn't on the radar at that time. So I was a little kid staring out that window in the car, fantasizing about going to Ohio State, wrestling and playing lacrosse.
Wow.
And one of those things happened.
There you go. They have a lacrosse-only stadium here. It's part of Gene Smith's grand plan. They said a lot of things about lacrosse at Ohio State. Can't go to the tournament, won't have their own stadium, can't do this, can't do that. It's in the Midwest, the hell with it. What does it mean to you that you have a stadium for men's and women's lacrosse in the Midwest?
Just look back on how it started. You think about the people that had the courage to come out here and really take a leap of faith. And you think about all those guys, and most of them are here out there sitting at that table. It's so humbling to think about them because they were the ones that really took that leap of faith. And then you look at what we have now, making the national championship with Coach Myers, and it's just awesome. It's good to be a part of it at the early stages. There's more to come.
That was on the list for sure. Gene and I were there. Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. They'll be back. Let's transition now to a person who I think is a generational talent, an athletic director. Gene, what did your time here, 19 years, mean to you?
Well, first, let me thank everybody for being here. Let me thank Varsity Hall for putting on another outstanding affair, and just the administrative staff that support them. And thank you for the opportunity to be inducted. It's a pleasure and an honor to have this moment. It's very humbling. And let me also thank my wife Sheila for being here. Without her family wouldn't have the opportunities that they have today. And I would have stayed pretty settled in my behavior over those 19 years that I was here. Every night, I'm from Cleveland, so every night that I have to go to Cleveland on people. But anyway, she kept me humble. But, it's the biggest thing, Clay, is these student athletes who are being inducted. I'm fortunate, things settled, were here during my tenure. And I had the opportunity to serve them and some of that. And that's what it is for me. It's to create an environment for the student athletes to be successful academically, athletically, and behaviorally. And so the opportunity with the great teammates that I have worked with to create that environment it's just been an honor, a blessing.
You went through a lot of stuff here. I remember behind the Woody, COVID strikes, and they tell you you can't play football. And the man wore it on his sleeve, and he, we're trying to get some reaction, and he walked away. He's about to get the car and comes back, because that's what he does. He's accessible. And we're going to figure it out. Now you don't have to figure out NIL.
Ross will help us out figuring that out.
When you have 36 sports, there's a lot of trials and tribulations. There's a lot of 1:30 in the morning and the plane won't leave Denver.
We got to get 1:30. Those 3:30 calls were hell.
Any of them from Urban?
No. Urban wasn't that difficult to deal with. He was complex, but it wasn't difficult to deal with.
How did you manage? Head football coaches on this level have tremendous egos. How did you manage that?
Well, first of all, I was fortunate to have good people. And good people want the truth. I'm fortunate here, some of the coaches are here, I see Tom Ryan, Todd Tucker up there with cheap seats because he won't buy a fucking ticket. Excuse my language, I'm sorry, kids. But, that's what I deal with, so, but anyway.
He got his building, didn't he?
Yeah. He did that himself, though. Dick Nurse was up there with him, he wrote the check. But anyway, coaches, I like to say, are the engineers of these young people's lives. And so you want to make sure that you hire people who are good people, who have good values, and understand that parents gave these young people to us. And it's our responsibility, as we set their little rooms or in the school or wherever, we made a promise to stay true to that promise. And so they're athletes. I mean, they're phenomenal athletes. But that's only part of it. How do we make sure that they understand the life skills that's needed in order to live a life? Mike's here with 2 kids, unbelievable. And Braxton's over there, with the children. It's so rewarding to have coaches who understand that. Parents give us their children, make sure that they develop as people, make sure they do what they're supposed to do in the classroom, and they're going to compete. That's easy. That's easy. They're athletes, they're going to compete. But it's the other stuff that's the juice.
This place, I've been here 30 years now, and even though I went to high school, I thought Ohio State was just too big for Clay Hall. He's a small town kid, and this place is
special.
It's amazing. You see, I'm emotional, right? But Carmel, Ohio, man, the lump in the throat.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a Buckeye. Anyway, you're proud.
I think I was ready to write a check down. That's something we look for right there, man. Just, Dickie Name means his name on the lacrosse goal.
There you go. What cemented your legacy, or what was your proudest moment?
Clay, I am exceptionally proud of the culture that we've created with our student athletes. I tell people when I was fortunate to come here in 2005, we had a scholar athlete banquet recognizing those student athletes who maintained a 3.0 or higher. And we had 324. There were no black football players, and that really pissed me off. And so I wanted to have our coaches recruit character. Talent was all around the country, all around the world, but we want to recruit character, and we want to recruit young people who wanted to be just as competitive in the classroom.
Yeah.
When you're in the classroom and you don't feel like you don't have the capacity to learn or whatever, you sit in the back and you put your hand on it. Your self-esteem goes south.
Right.
That doesn't happen in their sport. So we got to make sure they compete in the classroom. So I'm most proud of the fact that we've changed the culture. We went from 324 to this last year, 811. All teams maintaining a 3.0 GPA. And, to me, that's what it's all about. It's making sure that our student athletes, get the marrow out of the Ohio State University and invest in themselves and be the best that they can be. And hopefully one day write checks.
I have twin granddaughters now, so I'm writing them a check. The nosy former reporter has to ask you one question about what's going on now. I was at a function last night, and they're all said Big Ten and the SEC are meeting next week in Nashville. Where's this headed?
I don't know, no one has a crystal ball. Been in this industry for over 40 years. Change is inevitable in everybody's life. Change is inevitable. So I think it's so important that you pause, take a minute,
use all the intellectual knowledge around you, and ultimately make a decision on different things in life. Intercollegiate athletics over the years have changed. And so it's going to change. Judge Wilkins in California is going to make a decision on the House case. We'll have some clarity on that. That'll hopefully give us a direction on where we're going. But here's the deal. Nothing's going to change relative to these guys playing lacrosse or this guy wrestling.
That was his quote last night. It's not still going to play. Still going to go to class.
Yeah.
Still going to play the game at a high level.
They're still going to come here as 17 or 18-year-olds, and we can get over 200 a year, and different levels of maturity and immaturity. So you have to create an environment to sit them on their path. I've always said to the leaders in this industry, whatever system that we have, we cannot lose the educational value that we have in the system today. You can't lose that. And when you're paying athletes, I don't care. They're still 17, 18 years old and they know nothing. They think they know something, but they don't know anything. So you gotta help them see what they don't see and create that environment to help them along the way. And there'll be a point in time when the light bulb comes on. I can think about a lot of student athletes, some here tonight, who had light bulb moments. And quick to bathrooms, you're making me laugh because you think about the same guys. But they have these light bulb moments where, oh, I can do this. I can, instead of being a 2.5, I can be a 3.2. And that's we can't lose that.
Gene, thank you.
Thank you, Clint.
Thank you for 19 years. He didn't always call me back, but he always texted me back, and that I appreciate.
Technology, you got to use it.
Yeah, he's, all right, I like that, all right. Kyle Snyder, man, this guy is not just Ohio State, the United States of America. This man is a world-renowned, it's incredible. World-class champ, youngest world champion and Olympic gold medalist in U.S. history. What was going on in your ticker that drove you to be a wrestler?
Yeah. Well, first I just want to say thank you to my family for being here. And the most important family member is missing my wife. We started dating when I was a freshman in college, so she's been with me this whole time. We just had our second baby girl, a week ago. So, so what was the question? What made me a wrestler?
Wrestling's a dirty game, man.
Yeah.
Why would you found affinity? You knew you were good at it, and you climbed the mountain.
Yeah. Well, I always my first dream was to be an NFL football player. When I was in 8th grade, I was 210 pounds and about 5'10". So I was like J.J. Watt on the football field, just very dominant, and I'm about 5'11" now, 225, so I didn't get much bigger, and everybody else caught up to me, so I started to get more into wrestling, and I started wrestling when I was 5 years old, and just was an aggressive kid, and my papa over there, he was a wrestler, and he took me to tournaments all over the country, and so it just was a good match for me.
International record, 30 gold, 6 silver, and 6 bronze. You're one of these guys who had to expand the trophy case, right?
Well, I love to compete. So, I love competing. Lord willing, would like to compete for a lot longer, and that's my favorite part of the sport.
You want to be in the Olympics again?
Lord willing, I'd like to compete in the next Olympics.
What did this place, Coach Tom Ryan, what does this place mean to you in your development as a champion?
People always ask me about Coach Ryan and what's the greatest thing he ever told me, and I always tell the same story. When I was a senior in high school, he asked me if I would send him an email with my goals. So I sent him, an email with being 4-time NCAA champion, world champion, Olympic champion, greatest wrestler of all time. That's what was in my head. And he sent me an email back with my goals in black, and then his goals in red, were about finding faith in Jesus and faith being the most important thing in my life, and trusting in God. And at that point, that was not important to me. It was all about wrestling and being the best. And so then I came here to Ohio State. So when I think about what does Ohio State mean to me, it's really the place where my faith started. And now that is the most important thing in my life, and what God leads me and directs me, and I want to do whatever He tells me to do. So that's a really special thing to have developed while I've been here.
You're the now well-rounded champion. Kyle, congratulations.
Thank you.
Tony, it's been an honor.